Hey, it's Co from Tough Cookie, and I want to show you how to make this resin bowl. So if you want to learn, keep watching. So let's get into it. So here I'm using a flower mold from Amazon. All supplies will be listed in the description box below. And I'm also getting a baby wipe just to clean away the mold. It's been out and it's a little dusty. So baby wipes or a piece of tape can help if you have dust or debris in your mold. So now I'm using the measuring cup to figure out how much resin do I want to pour. Beforehand, I took water and poured it in my mold just to get an idea how much I will need to do a pour, and then I let it dry after I pour all the water out. So today I'm using tabletop epoxy from TotalBoat. And I'm just mixing A and B together, and I'm going to do it for 5 minutes because this is a lot of resin that I'm pouring at one time, and I just want to make sure that I'm mixing it all. So the video is sped up, so when you're mixing, you definitely don't want to mix this fast, as so you will have a lot of air bubbles, and sometimes torching or the heat gun won't help with those micro bubbles that you created by mixing this fast. So now that the epoxy is all mixed, I'm going to mix in gold flakes for the center. I have mica powder from Black Diamond, and it's called Diamond Gold. That was sent courtesy of TotalBoat as well. And then I have Casting Craft, which is an opaque pigment, and that is in white. So I only poured a little epoxy in the gold flakes, as you can see here. And the reason why is because I'm only keeping this in the center and I don't want it to move. So the thicker it is, it's harder to move around. Now I'm pouring the rest into the gold diamond dust as well as the white. And then what I'm going to also do is pour the epoxy into the mold. I'm just going to go around in a circle just to make sure I'm keeping that gold flake in the center too. There's a lot of epoxy still stuck inside the cup, and I'm just kind of scraping the cup and making sure that I get all of it out. So I'm lifting the mold up a little bit to maneuver the epoxy into those petals. I'm also going to use a popsicle stick to kind of push it into the petals and get it into the corners as well. I'm evening out the gold flakes in the middle for the circle. Hey, you see what the cookie do? I need you to follow it. So if you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't already. And go ahead and leave me a comment. What do you think about this project so far? Would you like to see more of this? So that toothpick, I'm just picking a piece of hair out. I'm being careful not to scratch the mold, because if you do, it will show up in your project. But yeah, and then I'm also going to torch some of the air bubbles out now before I start to pour the pigments in. And when torching your project, you don't want to torch in one area too long. You can burn your mold or your epoxy if you're not careful. So here I'm using the casting pigment white, and I'm just going around the edge of it in a petal design. And I'm just kind of thickening it up just a bit. Then here I am using the diamond gold and the mica powder, and I'm going to go around in a spiral in the center. And because we don't waste epoxy ever, we're going to take that same diamond gold and we're going to do an outline of that right over top or right next to the white pigment from the casting craft. So I'm just going back in and thickening up my lines a little bit with the diamond gold in the petal areas. And then I'm going to also take the casting craft and go in a reverse spiral around the diamond gold in the center. I'm going to follow the petal design and just start using the white to make the petal design right after the spiral. I'm really trying to use up all the epoxy, so I'm going in right here and just putting white majority around that gold flake in the center, and then I'm just kind of spreading it out. So now I'm taking a popsicle stick, so where the petals go down, I'm just taking the stick and pulling down into the center of the mold. Then I'm going to torch to get rid of any air bubbles from moving it around, and also pouring new epoxy in. So now I'm going to also go down again in the little dips of the petals, but I'm not going to bring it all the way down. I'm just going to bring it, about an inch or two down. So I'm really trying to use up all the epoxy that I have. So what I'm going to do is take some of the leftover and make a petal just to kind of define it. And I'm doing that with the diamond gold here. And I'm going to continue to do that for all the petals. So since I'm still pouring epoxy and moving it around, I want to torch again to pop some of those bubbles and some of the bubbles that are starting to come to the top. A heat gun right now would be a perfect time to kind of blend some of those colors in and push them out. But as you can see, as you were watching from the beginning, you can see now that the epoxy is starting to move around and blend by itself. But you could do additional work with a heat gun and kind of blend it out as well.
Approximately 10 hours later.
So here it is after 10 hours. It's not fully cured yet, so it is pliable. In this clip, I'm gonna rub my hand across it so you can see that it's not sticky anymore. You don't want to do this if it is sticky, because your fingerprints will be in it and it will be a sticky mess on your hands. A good way to find out is to pour a little dot beside your project, and then you can test it out on the dot first before you actually put your hands on your project. So I'm going to take a piece of plastic and put it in a big stainless steel silver bowl. That bowl is what I'm going to use to take the shape of the flower bowl that I'm trying to recreate. So now I'm just trying to demold it. I'm going to take it away from the edges all the way around before I completely take it out, because it is still pliable. I don't want it to rip, or I don't want to stretch it out. So now that I am demolding, I'm going to pull out that same bowl that I put the plastic in, and I'm going to sit my flower now in that bowl. You can choose to do it on the top of the bowl, or you can do it like I did and sit it inside of the bowl. So I'm gently just pushing the flower in. And now I'm just going to work around the edges and kind of mold the petals into the design that I want. You can do it completely how you choose to. If you wanted more of a ruffled design, you can ball up pieces of runner's wrap, or find like little silicone balls or plastic and tuck in between the petals to give it more shape. And then you would just let it continue to cure within the 24 hours. So that's it for the resin bowl flower tutorial, and I just want to say thank you for watching. If you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe. I never seen a tough cookie that wasn't sweet. Continue to be you, and see you next time. Love you.